So, just about every conversation I have with potential prospects or new leads starts off with some version of I'm either recreating the same SOP on repeat or I need SOPs made for my business because people aren't doing what I need them to. As we dig into more and more conversations, I can almost always figure out that it is actually the founder or the team leader's clarity that's created the actual confusion. Either they're not clear in their offers and exactly what it is that they're doing for their clients, and they haven't documented in a way that they can actually turn things over really easily and assign it out in their project management system, or they don't know what the actual processes are and they haven't clearly communicated to their team what their expectations are around performance. It almost never has to do with the actual SOP itself. So today I'm going to walk you through my exact process that I use with every single client that I have to help them get that clarity, get it out of their head, get it into their project management system in a way that their team can understand exactly what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And it gives them visibility into what's actually happening. So I'm going to show you my exact AI tools, the conversations that I have, and exactly what it looks like, again, to get all that information out of my client's head and into their project management software so that they know what is happening at any point in their business. Okay, guys, so I'm going to walk you through the exact process I use with all of my clients. Now, I do have an AI CSM set up for every single one of my clients. Ordinarily, I would have a very clear set of instructions and the files related to the engagement here. So I would have the scope of our actual engagement. I would have an overview of all of the offers that this client has. Now, I do act as an integrator for my high-end clients, so those DFY clients that have done for you services. Now, obviously, I have lower tiered services as well, but every single one of them, no matter where they're at, has an AI CSM set up within my company. This is a very useful resource, and I will actually outline what it is at a different point. So right now, I've gone ahead and set up a dummy example for ABC Company, and I'm going to use that. We're going to pretend ABC Company is an accounting company, and I'm going to show you how I use it to brain dump out the exact tasks that need to be performed for this particular engagement. You can use this to actually map out your client journey in its current state. You can use it to help identify ways that you could actually upgrade your client journey. And then what you want to do as you're going through this process is every single touch point within that journey, you want to identify out the tasks that have to occur, again, to make this engagement successful, to make the experience what it is that you actually want for your clients. And then again, at some point in the future, you can look for opportunities to actually upgrade. But the real thing that we're trying to do here is look for the areas of opportunity to turn things over to other people, our VAs, our EAs. In this case, that virtual assistant could look like an offshore bookkeeper that is dedicated maybe to 10 or 15 accounts within your business. And then you have a set of recurring tasks. Let's face it, in the accounting world, there are a key set of recurring tasks that happen for every single accounting client that you have. And even those higher level tasks, as you hand off the easy ones, now we're going to look for ways in which we can actually hand off the higher level tasks to those same offshore bookkeepers. I know this because I actually ran a team that used 70% offshore labor in order to build out their businesses. So let's start here for ABC Company. So let's pretend we just signed them and we need to go ahead and they just signed a new tier 1 engagement, so their lowest level of engagement for just basic accounting and bookkeeping duties every single month. And we need to get those services into their project management system so that they can, again, start to turn over some of these tasks to their offshore bookkeeper and make sure that their services are standardized. That standardized experience, that is what is going to help your clients know what to expect from you every single month. You make sure you don't drop balls. You're getting all that information out of your head, and that also reduces burnout as a whole. I go more into that in some of my client experience videos. So for right now, let's just focus here on exactly how we go through getting everything that we do out of our head and into our project management system, and then how we start to utilize our team to actually do a lot of this for us in the future. So the very first thing I want you to do is press this little fancy mic button here, because I think it's far easier to just sit here and talk things out than it is to actually sit here and try and type everything out. Now, if you already have a document that you've already got very clear offers built out, you've already got a document around the scope of every single engagement that you do, that is fantastic. Go ahead and upload it. You will have a lot less that you need to do here. But if you're not yet at that stage, this is your starting point. So let's just click this fancy little microphone button and say, all right, hey, I call Claude Merida, and especially my AI integrator. Hey Merida, so today I just signed a new accounting client, and I need to actually outline all of the tasks and the things that I'm going to do for them and get that into my project management system so I can start to turn some of this over to my offshore bookkeeper. We'll call him Joe at this point. So I need to turn all this stuff over to Joe, so I need to make sure we get it all in there. Now, when a new client signs, anytime that they sign, I definitely need to get access to their bank accounts. I need to get access to the credit cards. In this case, the client has one bank account with a checking and savings account and 2 separate credit cards. I'm going to need to get access to be able to pull the statement so we can do a monthly reconciliation. Our agreement does state that we will categorize all bank transactions 1 time per week. I would like Joe to start to look for ways to automate that categorization using the AI tools within QuickBooks. So that's going to go into the special project session that we're going to set up. I want this project set up as onboarding tasks, daily tasks, monthly tasks, or daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, and special projects. We also are going to close out, but we're not doing their taxes. We're just going to close out at the end of the year. So we need to make sure we have annual tasks in there as well. And that's just going to include closing the books for the year and then getting those files over to the accountant. Now, in addition, every single month, we're going to export a copy of their P&L and their balance sheet, and we're going to give them a quick summary. I would like for you to help me with that, and so we'll outline what that looks like and make sure we set you up so you can do the monthly summaries for me, and we'll send out an email directly to them. Actually, Joe will send out an email directly to them once we have that report cleared. The bank statements should always be reconciled by the 10th of the month, unless for some reason those statements are not available. We'll get clearer in that as we get access to them. But my standards of service are that all reconciliations actually happen by the 10th of the month. And then I should get notified that the reconciliations are complete so I can go in and do my actual review. And then my agreements also state with the client that I will make sure that they get their P&L and balance sheet by the 15th of every month, unless we have come to some terms or agreements that was going to happen earlier. So in this case, it will be by the 15th of every month. So we need to make sure that that email is set up to go out. And Joe can actually handle that. I'll just do the final review again of that email and make sure that everything's attached and it is good to go. Now, I'm going to stop this here. You can certainly keep going as much as you need to in order to make sure you get, again, all that stuff out of your head that you're actually doing. So this is the prompt that we're going to start with. And then I usually create a little space, and then I give my AI CSM, or in my case, my director of operations, some internal instructions. Okay, I want you to take all this information and create an SOP for my tier 1 engagement as a whole. And then I want you to create out the complete Asana project list that we will actually use to make sure we get it into our project management system. Again, I want the separate sections in the standardized template that we're going to use for every tier 1 engagement to be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual tasks. And then at the end, we can put special projects within each individual task. And this is important. So I'm going to stop here for a second. This is important. So I want you to make note here of exactly what I say, because this is an important part of turning things over to your team. Within each individual task, I need you to list out the specific set of bullet pointed instructions. If you have questions on what needs to go in each individual set of instructions, please let me know. That should go in the description box in Asana. I also want that description box to have a very clear owner. It will be Joe in many cases, but it could be me. If you are unclear, go ahead and put me, and then we'll update when we finally get it in there. And then I want you to put the due date dependent upon what I've said. This is a template, so we're going to use this to actually duplicate and set up for every single new client that signs. Now, you would just go ahead and give this set of instructions, hit enter, and it will actually create these documents for you. Then you can actually just review those documents to see if it actually aligned with what it is that you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. I'm obviously going to pause the video and then we'll hop right back in. Okay, great. We actually have our Google Docs already made. Now, what I recommend for most of my clients is they have a single source of truth. We usually put that in Notion. There is a reason I don't run project management, the project management part of their business in Notion. I think it can get overly complicated and you need someone to really manage it. But I do love it as a single source of truth because you can easily organize information in there, and Claude can actually update that single source of truth for you as you go. Now, even though we're largely putting your SOP into your actual project management system, I do again recommend that you have this SSOT and that this actually lives in there, because who knows, at some point you may want to move into Notion and have a dedicated person there, because it is very useful being able to run dashboards and different things. So, but for right now, so we're just going to do it in the Google Doc. So I would certainly go through and see what it looks like. So you've got the section 1 onboarding tasks. Here is your first task. You can obviously ask it to pretty this up if that's something that you want to do. So me, the account manager, is the owner for obtaining bank account access. Absolutely. And then, yeah, within 3 days of business, you're probably going to want to put a recurring subtask there to keep reminding yourself, because if I know clients the way I know them, getting that access is going to be limited. Perfect. All of this is here, obviously, or not obviously, but you probably want to store the credentials in 1Password or some sort of password vault. So this all looks good. I'm not going to go through it in a whole lot of specific detail, but you can make any edits directly in here. Now, what I would normally tell a lot of my clients, what I would tell you is, as you're going through it, just go back to Claude, turn on that microphone, and as you're going through it, just go ahead and say, oh, this looks great, this doesn't, and have it make those changes for you. Just talk it out as you're going through. So once you feel pretty good with that, then again, either you've gone ahead and you've talked it out and it's created a different version, but once you feel like your version is final, then you would go back into Claude and you can have it actually set up this template in your project management software for you. And then you have your VA go and review it. Now, what I do with most of my clients is I have their virtual or executive assistants actually set up a director of operations within their individual accounts. And there's a very specific prompt for how they should do that. So once we've gone through this a couple of times and we feel really good about the process, I will actually send them over the SOP and have the virtual or executive assistant use that director of operations to set that up in my client's software. And then I'll actually also have it set up the final SOP in their single source of truth. Again, usually Notion or whatever that is. So why is this so important? Why is it so important to get all of this out of your head into your project management system? It goes beyond just getting your team to perform in the way that you need them to. I mean, that is really relieving such a huge headache for you, but it's also about creating a better experience for your client. I actually have a client that I signed not that long ago that was doing over 7 figures in business that had none of this actually set up in her systems. And she was starting to realize a lot of pings from different clients about the experience that they were having trying to get accesses to certain things. She went through a software change in the middle of all of this, and it created a ton of headaches both for her team and for her clients. Her churn rates actually started to go through the roof overall, and that cost you a ton of dollars. It actually costs you 5 to 7 times more to find a new client to replace those that have churned than it does to actually keep your existing ones. Doing this, it doesn't just create a better team experience and help them understand what it is that they want to do. It doesn't just create more freedom for you because you're able to actually assign out and delegate tasks to different people in your business. It actually creates an overall better experience, and that's going to allow you to charge more, and it's going to help you keep your clients around for a much longer time. As you start to go through this process a few times, you can make some tweaks to the overall ways that you're doing it, but standardizing your templates in Asana is going to be one of the first parts of systemizing your business so that you can actually start to scale. And it's going to be one of the key ways in which you help your team know exactly what it is that they should be doing again every single day, week, or month. And it's going to give them the opportunity to start to look into the systematic way of doing things to see where there are additional opportunities for upgrades. as a whole, it is such a huge win, but it is so hard to know how to do this if you've never been a founder before and haven't actually done this process. If it was done for you by in the corporate world, this is something that doesn't just come naturally. It's also a great way to start to learn how to not just make use of certain AI tools yourself, but to actually hand those tools down to your virtual or executive assistant, your offshore talent, to expand their productivity, their capacity, and their overall understanding of exactly what it is that you want. Because that knowledge transfer, that's what's going to help them perform in the way that you expect. That is what's going to help them to really understand what it is that you want to create again for your clients. Now, there's so many more steps to this as you start to get into building out and systemizing your business to scale in ways that will alleviate you from having to actually handle a lot of the internal communications and follow up with your team, the micromanagement that's usually necessary. Again, I've got a lot of Slack notifications set up for when contracts are signed or payments are received and different things to alert my VAs and my EAs to the fact that other things on other sides of the business actually needs to happen. And it's a great way to kick off that process before you get to the stage where you have the bandwidth to actually figure out all the automations to really build your business. You don't need to do that in the beginning. So, but this is a great place to kick all of that off. Look, guys, I do host a free training every single month on parts of this process. And this is exactly what we build in CEO Foundations to start to move you from technician and to start to get your team to perform in the way that you need them to. If you are interested, please click the link in the description, join that next free live training, and have a direct conversation with me afterwards. I'd be happy to talk about if CEO Foundations is a great fit for you.